Chicago.
Somebody with strong feet. I know.
Excuse me.
So glad to see this level of energy and spirit around this subject. Now just imagine if your voices could be heard on these things before it is announced by the media. This is your community. Imagine having these discussions about what you want and what you need in the community before we're notified by the media. So that is why we are here today. We are kind of late on this. And one of the things I'm just going to talk about really briefly is a little bit of timeline of the facts of events that have been going on with regards to this. Okay? So, couldn't print anything. So in October, okay, thanks. In the beginning of October, Safeway had published a bid for takers on the South Shore Dominic's on takers on the South Shore Dominic's at 71st Street. A lot of people didn't know, it wasn't common knowledge, but some people who were just kind of up on the business pipeline knew about it, and those of us started hearing about it in early October. It was announced that they were shutting it down. They were closing all of their Chicago area stores. I have access to the links. We will post those links to the website of when they announced it. That was October 10th. Okay, that's when it was released by the media. On October 10th, media releases announcement for Safeway to sell off their Dominick stores in their entire Chicago market by 2014. That was October 10th. It was made public. On December, so fast forward, but all through this, while we're fast forwarding throughout this time when people started getting notified, community members, the South Shore Chamber, community leaders, people started talking. The buzz was happening. People were going to the alderman's office. People were writing letters to the mayor's office. What can we do? People were trying to contact Dominic's, et cetera, et cetera. This is ongoing from October until now. On December 2nd, Mariano's announced their 11 stores that they were buying out. That's when everybody was notified because it was such a big deal about this new, wow, Mariano's. So now everybody knows we're shutting it down. On December 18th, in response to that, the Planning Coalition hosted a community meeting to inform and engage the community. And we promise we'll get back to the table on this, and this is where we are today. Also that week, I think it was December 19th, Alderman Hairston announces to the community of her involvement in the replacement store closing, the replacement of the store. So I was trying to find some more information on that. I know people who were calling the office and things like that. I don't have any feedback other feedback other than the announcement. That's all I have. If somebody can inform me, I would love to be informed.
That the mayor's committee that she was referring to?
No, it wasn't about the committee at that time.
Okay.
It was just announcing that she mentioned that she found out through the media about the closing and that she had been actively engaged in a replacement store. But that was an announcement. And on December 20, and then immediately following, we hosted a survey that went out, and that survey is still active, which Ava's going to talk to you about. And then today, of course, 12 p.m., Dominic's is now closed. And here we are at the meeting. What are we going to do next? So, also, just to give you a little bit of specs on the information. Jeffrey Plaza, the demographics are available. We'll have that for you. If anybody wants to know, you can email me. We'll put that up on the site. But there's an estimated gross sales of $24 million. I think it's bigger than that because I haven't been shopping at Dominick so much because of some of my own personal issues with the store itself. So that could be even higher. It's a high revenue producing store. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. So let's move on to the survey report. So Ava's going to give you some information on what your survey says.
Has everyone signed in? Please make sure you sign in so we want to keep in contact with you.
Just one update. I did see, I believe there was an announcement today as to the members of the task force.
Yes, I skipped over that. I was distracted by something. But yes, there were members. The mayor announced the task force just a few days ago on the just a few days ago, the mayor announced the task force members. And the task force member represented by our community is Alderman Hairston. And so one of the things that we wish to do is to be able to engage in that process because there's a lot of activity going on.
That list is on the coalition Facebook page.
Yes.
The whole list is there.
Yeah, and what we'll do is, so I've got 3 things that are supposed to go out via web and internet and the Facebook and everything today. So far, this will be posted to Facebook and to the website. The information on LaShawn's timeline will be posted to our timeline and on the website, and we'll update the members of the task force in a list form on the website and on Facebook.
What's the Facebook and
It's just the Planning Coalition.
planning coalition?
Yes, ma'am. Just Facebook.com/the Planning Coalition. It should come right up. Here we go. 11. Okay, so this survey went out about 10 days ago. Let me. The survey's been live now for about 10 days, 4 hours, and actually for us to only have email responses, 199 is pretty steep. That's actually some really good progress. And so we're going to leave it up for another 2 weeks. We're going to try to reach 500. Our original goal was 1,000, but right now we're trying to reach 500. So please, 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 anyone who is part of a neighborhood club, block club, a cool group of people who live in the South Shore, Greater South Shore area, please let people know to take the survey. Yes, ma'am.
I didn't know a lot of people that I could get surveys from. They're not electronic.
Sure.
So when will you have paper copies?
I
of
can.
survey
You know what I
books?
can do? I'll upload a PDF of this to the site, and then you guys can download it.
That's most
Okay.
definitely,
Let me
yeah.
make sure I take that.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Is the survey on the Facebook page?
Yes, the link is on the Facebook page. Let me just make sure I get that.
And is there a deadline?
I'm gonna say another 2 weeks, so the 15th of January right now.
And how soon do you think that you'll get the paper copy? Is it the paper PDF?
It'll be up before you leave the meeting today. To the site.
How do you get the paper copies back to you?
Val, do we have a drop-off location at Buffy, or would you? How do you want to do
We
that?
drop them off at 1809 East 71st. Just let them know that you're dropping off a survey for the Planning Coalition, because that's the office that we rent an office out of there. The entry number to get in is that when you get over there, dial 102.
Is there a fax number or anything?
No fax number, but you can scan it and email it. And that email address is hello@theplanning.org. The Planning Coalition, THEPLANNING Coalition, COALITION.org.
Can the contact information be printed on the survey?
Yes.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Okay.
Next.
So, move along. These are the survey results so far. So, where do you generally shop for your groceries? Well, while that's loading, how far do you normally travel to buy groceries? So, okay, never mind. So, how far do you normally travel to buy your groceries? About 27% of our people are going to about 0 to 2 miles. So it looks like they're in the neighborhood. Hyde Park, the closest grocery store in Hyde Park starts about 3 miles away. So people are either going a little bit further east, or they're staying somewhere in the neighborhood to buy their groceries, whether it's at the Jewel or the Save A Lot or whatever. About 35% of people are shopping outside of the neighborhood. And another 29% are shopping somewhere between Bronzeville and Northside to get their groceries. If you notice that 6 to 10 mile radius, that's about what it's looking at. And over 10 miles, I'm not even sure.
Can you hear? Can everyone hear?
I'm sorry. So about 5 to 10 miles is the
You
range.
might have to stand up.
Yeah. So about 5 to 10 miles going east is the range between Bronzeville and Northside. So about Bronzeville and Lincoln Park is the range that people are going to shop for groceries in the 29% range. And about the range between Hyde Park and downtown is 35% of people going east. I'm not sure if people are going further west, but it looks like so far people are moving east. And I'll show you the location data here as well. How many people, including yourself, live in your household? So this one's pretty basic, but it lets us know how much money people are dividing up by person in their household. So if you're spending about $500 a month on groceries, and you have about 6 people in your household, that you're probably shopping at a lower income or a discount store. If you're spending about $500 a month, and you've only got 2 people in your household, then you're probably shopping at a higher end or a higher quality grocery store. So these are the things that we're looking at. And right now, it looks like there's a lot going on with about 2 people in the household, about 45%. And so then if you look at how much people are spending on groceries a month, the 54% here for people spending $251 to $500 on their groceries is pretty high, even though you have a small number of people in your household. So that to me says there are some people who are shopping at some higher end grocery stores. And this line here, I thought at first that a lot of people were actually driving, busing and all of that to get to the grocery store, but it looks like a lot of people are driving via car. So that's kind of a problem. And it doesn't seem like a big deal right now, but as things are getting denser around the city, most people in other neighborhoods, like higher and middle income neighborhoods like ours, don't travel by car to get their groceries. That means that we're spending more of our money to go get our food, right? So you see about 6% of the people surveyed are taking the bus, and another 6% of people walk. And actually what we want to do is we want to flip that, right? So you want people taking the train, busing or walking to be the highest percentage of people getting their groceries. Yes, ma'am.
I noticed, excuse me, when I took that, you could only pick one.
Right.
And I think in our case, we walk and we drive.
And you drive,
We
okay.
definitely would walk to Dominic.
Okay. So then I'll...
That happens with me too.
Yes.
I think there's another issue with the car factor that a lot of people might have selected it because some people might just feel safer driving, even though they could walk.
Okay.
So
Can I just say, right quick, another observation is that, one, if you say grocery shopping, you're not just going out for milk and eggs.
Right.
Grocery shopping, I'm not carrying no groceries on no bus or
Sure.
a bike.
Right.
I'm gonna drive, even if
Right.
it's within 1 mile of my house.
Right.
So
If you have that
so
option.
then that's something that we have that option, yes.
That's another interesting thing because I know, like you said, if you're buying like groceries, like bulk groceries for a lot of people, you're probably not going to want it.
I'm only shopping for 2, but when I grocery shop, I grocery shop.
You're really shopping.
And I'm not, carrying all of that.
Right, but you also have to consider many of the people that have, are on public aid and they have lots of children and they don't have cars. I see them every day because I don't have a car. So, and they take the bus and it's a lot, being a student, I'm not going to carry a cart on the bus, but I might do it in increments.
Right.
On a Tuesday when I'm downtown, I'll go to Whole Foods. I go to Whole Foods, I'll shop at all the different ones for different things.
Mm-hmm.
But that's in between my days. I don't ever do it once because I don't have a car.
Right.
So I see families, like mothers of 5, single mothers, on the bus with
Sure,
their
sure
friends
thing.
with
So-
like 10
so-
bags of groceries.
The reason why we ask that question is because, and this will help you guys when you start doing your strategies, when you, as a grocer, what you're calculating is volume to profit, right? So if a person is making a frequent amount of trips, but they're spending a little amount of money, that's going to cost you more of a time. Because you have to have people to actually make those transactions. Whereas someone comes in there once, buys a bulk of groceries, that's actually what you're looking for. You want them to be able to come in there one time, spend $200 to $500 and leave, because it costs you less money over time. So that's something that we'll have to discuss with whoever decides to come in, or who would like to come in. The next question was, would you be willing to pay for healthy food or groceries? And about 73% of our respondents said yes. So they're willing to pay extra money for healthy food and groceries, which is the opposite of what people have been saying about us for a very long time. Next question is, would you do your shopping in South Shore if a high-quality grocer takes the place of the Dominic's Plaza? 87% said yes, another 12% or so said maybe. Not sure what's going on with the maybe, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Please describe the types of options you would like to see available in your neighborhood grocery store. So this is things like salad bar, hot foods, like Whole Foods have that cool like little thing.
A full service store, period.
Yeah. So this doesn't really mean much other than to the person who would decide to come in, what kind of amenities that we'd like to have in the store when they finally get here. And so what format of grocery store do you prefer? We'll let that load. This was kind of a funny question, but I know kind of how to jibby that up. What was really interesting is about, whoa, okay, that jumped. Okay, what format grocery do you prefer? Medium-sized grocers, so Mariano's, Whole Foods. So it's pretty clear that we're somewhere between medium and full-size markets, but we're saying no to big boxes already. So nothing large, no super Walmarts, no super Targets, no Myers or anything like that. So we're somewhere between a medium and a full-size grocer. Please rank your top 3 choices for the grocery store to replace Dominic's. This was kind of a funny question. I'll have to dissect this a little bit later. But a lot of people were looking for the Mariano's. There was some response for the Trader Joe's. But the highest response we got actually was for Pete's Market, which is actually a pretty level playing, that kind of would probably serve the most people in this area. So that's what that was for. So yeah. So the next one, of course, is, are you a registered voter? 99% of the people who took the survey are registered voters, which means that, and on top of that, 50% of the people who were surveyed who are registered voters live in the 5th ward. So there's your voting power. And we are only halfway through with what we're trying to sample. So I'm going to actually post these results. This is the zip codes. 60649 about 88%, 60617 about 10%, and 60639 about 1.8%. And these questions are more so for us. But the last one, of course, do you believe that community members should be represented in the decision making to replace Dominic's and Jeffrey Plaza? Everybody said yeah. So, I kind of, there's no misconstruing or miscommunicating about where we want to be in this process. And so it's really important that we continue to push that. We're going to get around to how we'll go through the process, what's going on their end versus ours. But these are the survey results. So what I'm going to do is, as this thing progresses, it'll be a feed on the website and on the Facebook page, so you'll be able to see how many people are taking it, what the results are, what's going on, so you'll constantly be abreast. And there'll also be, at the same time, and the media team will work on this later, talking points. So there's going to be all these news reporters coming around asking you all kinds of crazy questions, trying to throw you off the trail. Talking points, right? This is what we want. We have data to back this stuff up. This isn't what I want. This is what my community is saying they want, right? So I will post this forthwith to the website, and I don't know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to wrap up because you guys got to do some work. Yes, sir.
I have a quick question. I didn't notice the response to the question about a community co-op.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So local co-op is kind of hither and thither. Yeah, it's pretty low. I mean, the issue with co-ops, which I think would be cool, I think that a co-op in addition to something at the plaza would be probably economically sound for us. But that question was a little funny because realistically putting a co-op inside of that big store is really, the chances are really slim. Yes, sir. Yes,
what do the colors, the different colored bars represent on those?
I have to kind of break that down, but basically it is, those different colored bars are telling me where this person is being surveyed from. Like all of this little stuff that has nothing to do with the actual information. But I'm going to post this in the instructions for every single question online.
And just one more comment.
Sure.
I didn't know there was Strack and Van Til anywhere but Indiana.
No, there's one up north.
But they're all north side,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure anybody's familiar with it.
Right.
So I went to Indiana and I shopped there once just to see what it was like. It's comparable to Treasure Island. You're okay if you shop the sales.
Yeah.
And the quality's good.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll take all of that feedback into consideration. We'll kind of look at the survey data and be very clear about that stuff, but I gotta shut this down and get you guys to work. So I don't know who is up next.
So I'm a,
Oh,
thank
there
you,
you go.
Ava. So first of all, with this being the third day of Kwanzaa, Habari Gani. Today is Ujima, and this is collective working responsibility in full effect. So give yourself a round. So I'm going to keep it brief. My name is Anton Seals. I'm a product of South Shore. I'm a South Shore kid. Was educated here, grew up here, own a home here, and I'm South Shore all day. So we want to make sure today that we come out of here with some tangible things that we can do. So I've been involved in urban ag and helping do policy work and advocacy work around what we've codified as the food deserts, which is a misnomer unto itself, but nonetheless being engaged in how do we create a new food system. So I think this is going to be really exciting, the things that we come up with. We have to think about what the needs are, what our approaches will be, what the benefits will be for the community. Those are some of the big things that we talked about today. And us gathering here today shows that we're engaged and that we really want to take on and make sure that our representatives are accountable to our voices. The challenge for us is going to be able to come up with our collective voice. What is that voice? What is our vision for South Shore outside of just this store? Because listening to everyone here, I just got involved at the first meetings. I came to the first meeting, I was like, okay, I'm doing stuff in Englewood, I'm doing stuff, I'm like, I got to do stuff here. So I think it's for all of us, we're all wanting to get engaged and say, wait a minute, we've been sitting around and there's an opportunity, and I think it doesn't just stop at this grocery store. So I think some of the data that Ava laid out shows that we are leaking tons of our economic money out of our own community. So we're going to have to come up with a vision and a plan long term, and this goes back to some of the strategy in terms of what our plan is. I'm not sure if there is a long-term plan, mid-term plan for South Shore. I have not seen one. I know that there are some other developments that are encroaching in South Shore and the Lakeside development that will impact all of us here. But I think this kind of body that we formed thus far will help us kind of figure some of those long-term things out. Today, though, we're going to be breaking up into two different groups. One is going to be with myself. I'm going to facilitate a conversation and some action items around, for our next meeting, around what kind of grocery store, what's out there, how do we work with what's in the existing model, and how do we work outside of that. So we've got to come up with our needs and our approach. I think we identified what some of our needs are. We need a grocery store. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And then the other piece is you're going to be with the lovely Miss Yvette Moyo, who is a great mentor and a dear friend. And you guys are going to be talking about the PR and the image of South Shore. What does that mean? What is the adjectives? And coming up with, I think, how many, 2 or 3 different items to report back out to the group? Okay. And I'm sure Val will resurface. So I wanted to make sure that we kind of, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I missed the first one, PR, and you're doing?
Grocer.
Okay.
So what do we want to see in terms of what kind of grocery store we would like there? I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but how do we get that done? And we've got so much resources in South Shore, it's unbelievable. So part of it is just the approach, like, you know, who's got what. So we're going to do a little asset kind of mining in these meetings, because there are a lot of great people in the room already. So I don't want to presume anything. So I think we have a lot of great resources already present. So with that being said, I know we're running behind. We want to kind of get off into these meetings, talk a little bit. There is no definitive. I think this is an ongoing. This is just meeting 2. And we'll become even more organized as we move further. We need hands on deck. So please feel free to volunteer and help Val and the crew out, just like everyone else, to input to see this vision through. So any questions? Yes.
You know, we have those strategy charts, so they will have to produce something before today. Like,
For the strategy chart, that's an assessment.
right.
That's an
okay.
assessment. That's
So,
what we're going to
yeah.
be doing, some asset mining
Okay.
in these meetings. So there are 2 classrooms here. There's classroom 2, which will be for the grocer. And we'll be tight in there if there's a lot of folks in there. And then there's another classroom and further down the hall.
Or they can stay in here. You know, if you want to stay for the groceries, you can stay in here.
Well, can we do a little round by hands? How many folks want to stay for the grocer part?
The more, then they should stay.
Okay, so, and those who want to go for the media, PR, image, okay. It's about 50-50. So we'll see how we do in the rooms, and then if we need to some people may need to grab a chair as we move into that. Do we have any last questions before we break?
I could just have a quick announcement. If any of the gentlemen in the room lost a pair of gloves at the last meeting, see me.
And also, gentlemen, please grab a chair for the ladies in the room. That's the only thing. Thanks so much.